right. Hello, people joining me here. How's everyone doing? Good to see some familiar people here. All right. So I'm just gonna keep this real casual, and what I want to do is share my screen and just talk about tokens and stuff like that, and help you learn. So what I'm going to do is wait for just about a minute or so, and maybe 2 minutes, and get a few more people in here. And Nick, link to this is DAO Town Hall, and tweet has a different schedule link. Just saying. Yeah. I just fixed that. I just realized that, and so I fixed the short link now, so it correctly points to this video. So yeah, we'll be talking about fungible and non-fungible tokens, and um, I'll just give you a breakdown of exactly what all of that is. I keep it super simple. I don't want this to be like like a developer thing or whatever. It's intended to be real simple um, for artists in general, because I'm presuming that's what most of the audience will be comprised of. So we'll just do that. I see. Let's see. If anyone wants to come up here and join this stream and be on video with me, you're welcome to do that. I'm happy to have you here. But here, let me just get going here shortly. I actually initially thought that I would run through this deck I had, but I think that's overkill. I wanted to keep it simple. You know what? Let me just share my screen, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. And if people think that there's value to it, we might do it. It's actually a deck that I have presented many a times. I won't go on full screen. Here we go. So it's called Blockchain 101. I've presented this many times to many different audiences, and this particular deck, it goes through everything, literally everything about cryptography, blockchain applications, decentralized stuff, etc. And I tried to explain things in real simple terms. So if people feel like this would be useful, then I can certainly go through it. But what I wanted to do mostly is very organically kind of talk about tokens and answer questions as I go. So maybe what I'll do is, for this particular presentation that I have, I'll schedule a different session and actually tell people that it's going to happen, because I think the audience for that is going to be much larger. So what I want to do, and what I mean by that is more people will be interested in it. So I guess what I'm going to do here is talk to you about tokens, and give you sort of a breakdown of what tokens are and how they work, etc. Because you hear the term NFT and you're familiar with that, but what is it? What is it under the hood? What's actually happening on smart contracts and things like that? I don't think a lot of people have a good idea around that. So I wanted to just go through that. So I like to draw very boring and silly shapes, rectangles, etc., and just explain concepts through that. So that's what I'm going to do. So what we have here is we've got a blockchain. So this is a collection of computers, and on those on the blockchain, we have the ability to have programs, and those programs are very poorly named smart contracts. So let's say that we have two smart contracts for the purpose of our discussion today. That we've got a smart contract for a particular kind of token. Let's call it demo token. Okay, and maybe its symbol is DEMT. All right, and then we've got, in addition to that, we've got another smart contract which is for an NFT. It's for a collection of NFTs, and We'll call them the demo PFP collection. Okay. So I'm gonna try and use a color code throughout here so you don't get confused. Let's say that we'll have blue as our uh, token here, the demo token, and we'll use, let's go with green for our uh, PFP based smart contract. So the first thing you want to know is that in the world of cryptocurrency, this side here is a fungible token because all the tokens are identical. That's why fungible, right? And this side here, this is non-fungible. Why? Because every token is unique and no two tokens are alike. So this squiggly bothers me a lot, so I will say ignore, so it'll go away. Okay, so we have two smart contracts written by some maybe smart, maybe semi-smart developers, and this one is for fungible tokens, and this one is for non-fungible. But even before I go into this, like I want to tell you a little bit about cryptocurrencies in general. So here's a couple of important things you should know. All right, every blockchain has a native cryptocurrency that exists so that people can pay the fees for that blockchain. And that native cryptocurrency is typically called a coin. So people use these terms interchangeably and uh, causing a lot of confusion. But coins typically are what you have as the native cryptocurrency, and token is a currency that is created by way of a smart contract. So there's a distinction there, and people mess things up by going ahead and calling a token a coin, and it's just not right. But it's done and it's done. But anyway, every blockchain has its native coin, and in the case of Ethereum, that coin is ETH. In the case of Bitcoin, it's BTC. In the case of Solana, it's SOL. In the case of Flow, it's the Flow, and so on. So that cryptocurrency is important. It is used to pay fees. And what are fees? We call it gas, right? So gas is just another name for fees. It's just a fancy term for that. So all blockchains have this because otherwise it wouldn't be possible to pay the fees. Now, if you're wondering, like, why the heck does a blockchain even have to have fees? Well, it's because it's decentralized. Now, when you go and use Google, for example, and you use Google Drive or you use, Google Docs or something like that, um, you have the free version. You're not paying anything, right? So it costs nothing. Actually, that's not true. There is a payment, that someone else is making that payment or absorbing that cost for you. In which case, you are the product, right? Like we've heard this, like in terms of marketing, all that. I don't want to get into that, but in Web two, we are very used to someone else paying that cost, and so we don't see it. In Web three, because it's decentralized and there is no central, like, hosting provider or anything like that, the people who run these computers for the blockchain have to be paid, and that's what these fees are about. So another example is, like, when you go use a credit card in any store, right? You swipe it, you just pay whatever it is and you walk away. You have not paid any fees, but someone paid fees. Who? The store owner. They paid Visa, MasterCard, American Express, Discover, whatever it is. They paid 2.9% or whatever of that transaction fee. So someone always pays a fee when using a network of computers, always, 100%, because no one is charitable enough to just make a bunch of computers and the internet connection and the power, all of that free, right? That costs money. Who's going to do that? No one. So there's always a fee. It's just whether the fee is known to you, the end user, or not. And in the case of blockchain, it is known to you. It's front and center because you see it right there in that dialogue and you call it gas. But if in Web 2 we were surfacing those costs, you would see it in your credit card receipts. You would see in your sales receipts everywhere that, oh, there was XYZ paid for, you know, network fees and hosting fees and all of that kind of stuff. But we don't see that. So anyway, ETH is a coin, and it is the native cryptocurrency of the blockchain. In order to have any other tokens, you can create a smart contract, and that allows you to create a fungible token. Anyone can create any smart contract they want for any kind of cryptocurrency they want. They can call it anything they want. It does not matter. So if you decide that you want to have, like actually, let's do this. Let's go to Etherscan, which I talked about the other day, and let's look at the most popular tokens. Right? They're called ERC20 tokens, which we'll get to in a bit. But here's the top tokens, right? So let's see here. This token is USDC. This one's BNB. Here's Hex. Here's WBTC. Let me tell you something, folks. There is absolutely nothing preventing you from going and creating your own token that is named, for example, WBTC or Uni or anything like that. Will anyone care to use that? No, because it's not the authentic token, right? It's a copy that you made. But the fact remains that the blockchain ecosystem is completely open, it's completely decentralized, and anyone can do whatever they want to, including creating tokens. In fact, if you go and Google create ERC20 token online, you'll probably find a bunch of places where Token Factory is great. For the cost of paying gas, you can create your own token. I'm trying to find a better place. This one's asking for too much information. Here we go. Create Moon deploy. Blah blah blah. So you can just make up a token name. You can make up a token symbol. You can see what the supply is, and for the cost of the gas for this transaction, you will have your own token. Now, the fact that it exists doesn't mean it has any value, right? Just like regular fiat money, like US dollars or UK pounds or whatever your currency is. Those currencies have value because we say they have value. We ascribe value to them. If everyone in the world decided that the US dollar's value is zero, it would have no value. That's just how currencies work. So you can make up a token. That's the beauty of it. In fact, if you know what, why don't we just make up one? I don't want to put it in my regular address, but let's make up an address here and have some gas in it. And let's see if there's any account here that has any value. Let's use this one here. It has no ETH in it. I'll transfer some ETH to it so I can pay for this transaction. So give me a second. Let's go send, and we want to use account 3, and let's send it 0.1 ETH. Let's send it 0.2, not 2.2 ETH, and load it up a little bit. So I'm just going to have some fun here. We are actually going to create a token on the fly, because I want you to see that it is in fact really, really easy to do this. We'll call this our live demo account, so I know which one to mess around with. And we'll wait for the money to show up. I'm pretty sure I sent it to this one. Let me go and check. FFE. Okay. Is this it? Yep. So we'll just wait here for the money to show up. And meanwhile, we can do this. We can call our token demo token. We'll use the symbol I put in there. What did I say? DEMT. Yep, DEMT. And we'll say well, let's say a billion. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's a million. 7, 8, 9. So there's a billion DEMT tokens there. Okay. And we can mint and burn, blah blah blah. Okay, do we have money yet to deploy this contract? We have money. All right, great. So let's create this token. Connect your wallet first. Oops, sorry. MetaMask, blah blah blah. We'll use that. Okay, it's connected. Now let's create our token. It wiped out all my hard work. Demo token, DEMT. 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 18 decimals, can mint, can burn, create. Please wait a moment. What's it going to cost us? It's going to cost us 30 bucks. All right. We're going to do this. All right. And we are going to wait. We're going to wait. And very shortly, we will see. Actually, this is a good time to go to Etherscan. And I'm going to copy this address. And let's go to Etherscan and search this address and see what's going on with this address. Anything? Yeah, there we go. 15 seconds ago, there's a pending contract transaction that is happening. So it's creating a new contract for me for my token. And I think they lowballed the gas, so it might be a little slower. So tell me, you said minting on OpenSea on ETH is free. That is actually incorrect. OpenSea has something called lazy minting. So you're minting right to their database, their Web2 database. Anything on blockchain costs money, and they are not absorbing that cost for you. You are paying, but it's the person who's paying is the buyer of your NFT at the point of sale. But we'll get into all of that. All right, so now I have a contract created, and this still hasn't caught up with this. But we have a contract address here. So now you can see here that this contract exists. It's for the demo token. I just made this up. Guys, right here in front of you, I have created a cryptocurrency with 1 billion tokens that are completely worthless because, you know, they have no value. But now, here's the thing. How do I have my wallet see this token, right? So in order to do that, I need the contract address, which is right here. So it's in several places actually. It's right here also. So I'll copy it. And now when I go to my MetaMask, why is it saying connect? All right. So if I go to my assets right now, I don't see that token. And because this is not a popular token, I just created it, couldn't be popular. MetaMask has no knowledge of it. So what you have to do is you have to go to custom token and give it the token address, in which case it looks at the blockchain and boom, it finds my DEMT token. So I'm going to add that. And there we go. Now in MetaMask, I have 1 billion DEMT tokens. This is all live, folks. This is actually happening on the live blockchain. Now, if you want some of these DEMT tokens, I'll send them to you. Post your address in the comments and I will send them to you. And if you want to add the token address to your MetaMask, like I just did, just for fun, here's the contract address. I put it in the comments myself. So I managed to create a cryptocurrency for myself. You know, there it is. It's all done, and it is live on here. All the tokens are currently owned by me. So let's see. We got Kuntal who said, "Send me some," and I'm gonna go with Sarah first because she posted an address, and I know that it's gonna be easier. So we'll. Oops, I didn't mean to show those addresses there. I meant to copy them. Let's see. Is there a good way for me to copy? I don't see a good way for me to copy this. Darn it. How can I copy this? It's gotta be a way to do this. 1 second, guys. I'm trying to figure this out. Oh, you know what I can do? I can go to the stream and copy it from the comments. Maybe it's available there. Give me a second. Whoa, I don't want to do that here. That would cause an echo. Let me do this. Hang on 1 second. I'll go in another browser and try and get your address. What, can I ask you guys a favor, please, if you don't mind? I'm gonna just give you that Twitter thread I had, and if you don't mind just replying to that and putting the addresses there, it'll just save me some time, and I can just grab it from there because I can copy. Because right now in this StreamYard, I cannot copy. So if you reply there with your addresses, I'll go ahead and grab them from there. So let's see. No one's posted an address yet. I don't see one yet. Waiting, waiting, waiting. Uh, anyone have an address that they want to post on that Twitter thread? Puri asks, how do we list this token on exchanges, and how do we get trending volume on this token? One, no one is going to take your token on any exchange, any centralized exchange, unless you have a company behind it, you have a business plan behind it, and you actually have a plan, and you also have money. It costs a fair bit of money to list on a centralized exchange. And you get trending volume on the token if you do something useful. You actually got to have a business and do something meaningful. If you if you don't do anything and you just falsely promote it, then it might go up, but it will come crashing down. So, all right, I got one address here. Woohoo! All right, so I have an address. Let me do this on. I want this one, but expand view is what I want. So I want to just keep this handy all the time. Okay, so we're going to send. Actually, I don't want to send ETH. I want to send DEMT. So we're going to send to this address, which is, I believe, Teo's address. And let's be very generous and send her 1 million tokens. Is that 1 million? Yes, it is. And that's going to cost me $1.22 in gas. Going to send it, and then she's going to let us know if she gets it in the comments. Going back to Twitter to see if there's anyone else who has posted an address. So I can send them some tokens. Oh yeah, great. We got a lot of people now. Beautiful. So let's send some more tokens. Go back to our assets and send to Kuntal 1 million tokens. So this is all, see, fungible tokens are essentially made up play money, right? Because we are doing that right now. I'm just playing and I'm sending you tokens. How do they get value? Well, if you do something useful, with the project, then the token gains in value. But until then, it's just made up cryptocurrency money. So this is Mrityunjay. I think I pronounced that right. I'm sorry if I didn't. 1 million tokens to you also. And confirm that. Boom. All right. So you can see our balance is going down because it's all there. So thank you for those of you who posted their Twitter address, and I sent you your tokens. Any others? Anyone else who wants a lot of tokens? Boom. All right. I guess that's it. Okay, good. So Puri, please post the address in my Twitter thread that I posted a little earlier. If you go to my profile, the latest tweet that's there, just go post it on there, so I can copy it, because I can't copy it from the YouTube comments while I'm also sharing live. All right. So let's go back now to this. So we made up a demo token, right here in real time, and that's a fungible token. So it's a cryptocurrency. All all DEMT tokens are identical. They can be swapped, and they're all the same. Now, non-fungible tokens are different in that each one is unique. That's what you are very familiar with. Now, before we switch to that topic, I want to tell you about the standards associated with this, so you are familiar with it. So when you have fungible tokens, the standard associated with it is ERC20. What does that stand for? It stands for Ethereum Request for Comments number 20. Um, so uh, there's a question about where have I posted the contract address. Um, I posted it here in the YouTube comments, but I can go to my um, Twitter also and post that. So give me a second. Here's that contract, and I will post it right there. Okay. So it's on my Twitter in the same thread. Okay, great. Um, So ERC stands for Ethereum Request for Comments. This actually goes back to the internet when the internet was being created and these protocols were being created. They were mostly all academics, right? So they would write an email or something like that, and someone would say, "I have an idea for, you know, doing XYZ on the internet," and that's how protocols were born. But once they reached a point where enough people were interested, they would create that document and they would give it a number, and they would call it RFC, request for comments, and the number. And the Ethereum community just borrowed from that, and they called it, instead of RFC, request for comments, Ethereum request for comments, ERC. And the number just literally means the order in which that item, that idea, if you will, was created. Let's see. Okay, so a few more people want tokens. Let me take care of that. I want to make sure everyone is happy and has tokens. I'm not seeing. Okay, I see one more here. So let's go ahead and send. We want everyone to have DEMT tokens, which are empty, DEMT, empty. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Next. Confirm. Okay. So that's Sai, Sanjay. And let's see, anyone else looking for tokens? There's Pratik. Okay, Pratik, get some tokens. All right, boom. Okay, we'll take a pause on that so I can finish talking here. I'll send more tokens to people later, all right? Wait, was this confirming? Didn't I confirm it already? Okay, I didn't. Okay. All right, good. All right, so that's called ERC20, Ethereum Request for Comments, number 20. It's the standard around how tokens should be sent. Now, I'm going to take you into the world of gobbledygook code for just a moment, because I want to show you how simple ERC20 contract is. It's not at all very complicated, and don't worry about all of the code and all that. Focus your attention on this brown text, because that's what's important. You see what the ERC20 specification has. It has total supply. How many tokens does it have? Guess what? In our case, I'm going to go show you in a bit what it's going to be. The balance of and which account. So you can look up the balance of any address, transfer, send to someone, the recipient, the amount, how many tokens. Allowance, meaning allow someone to spend so many of your tokens, which we hardly ever use. And approve. I'm sorry, actually, this one is the one that's, this one says essentially allow this address to spend on your behalf. And then here it says how many. So these are basically the very simplistic things available in ERC20. I probably lost a bunch of you now, and that's okay. I'm going to go back here to the contract, and you'll see how this works in just a second. So on Etherscan, you can go to any contract, and you can read and write that contract. So you see here, This is all the stuff available in this particular contract: balance of, allowance, can burn, etc. So if you want to look at total supply, right? What was the total supply of my contract that I created? A billion. And here it is. That now that looks a lot larger than a billion. Why is that? Because a billion is what I did in terms of uh, ether, right? This is in Wei, which is the smallest unit. So it's just like dollars and cents, right? $1 is 100 cents. So this would be the equivalent of cents. It's called Wei, WEI. That's why it looks really large. It's 18 decimal places. Now, can you query any address and find out how much they have? So I first sent Teo some money, and I'm copied her address. So let's go and see. So balance of, what is the address? Here's the address. Query it, and look, it's, well, you can't tell this, but it is a billion, is what it is. Sorry, a million tokens is what I sent. So you can query that anytime you want. Like, for example, let's prove that. All right, I'll go here and I'm going to send her one more token, just to show you that this actually in fact works. One more token and confirm, and we'll wait for that transaction to get completed on the blockchain. And dum 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 dum. I will send tokens to everybody who has that on that Twitter thread a little later, please. Okay, so now let's go here and query again. What do we have? Look at that. Look at that one that showed up there, right? So it's 1,000,001. So this is 18 decimal places. Is, like I said, Wei. It's the cents. So this shows you that you don't actually need an application or a DApp or anything like that. If you have Etherscan and you've got your contract, you can do pretty much everything you want to. So in this case here, if I wanted to send tokens to someone, I could do that. So let's continue this. Teo, I'm using your account just because it's convenient to have one account to play with. So let's say transfer, and I'm going to say recipient. So I'll select her address again. And this time I'm going to send her, let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, a very unique number of tokens. And I'm going to authorize this without using MetaMask to initiate the transaction. Like I was using MetaMask to send and all that. Now MetaMask will simply ask for me to sign the transaction. That's all. Gas fee, blah blah blah, unknown processing time. Well, let's make it known. What's the problem here? Oh, the gas fee suggested is too low. That's fine. We'll make it high and send it off. Okay, so I use Etherscan to directly send from the contract 1, 2, 3, 4 tokens to that address. And we can go back to read contract, and we can go to the balance of and query, and it still hasn't updated. Query. I'm expecting this to change to 1, 2, 3, 5 because there was already a 1 here. Come on. Is it done? It should be done. There we go. Look at that. 1, 2, 3, 4. It updated. Now, in this case, when I'm using Etherscan, it's actually using Wei as the unit, and that's why the 1, 2, 3, 4 showed up here. MetaMask was using the main DEMT as the unit, and so that's why the 1 showed up here. All right. So what we have proven now is that fungible tokens can exist with the contract. You can make up your own, etc. And as long as you conform to this ERC20 spec, and here's the spec, right? You're good to go. You can make this contract, and it will be compatible with every wallet that's out there. This is the beauty of having a standard for something, is that you can create apps and all that can use that. So that's ERC20, right? On the other side of the equation, non-fungible tokens, they also have a standard. There are multiple standards, actually. There's ERC 721, which is for one type of token, one type of NFT token. And then they have ERC 1155, which is called the multi-token standard. And with an ERC 1155 contract, you can have all kinds of fungible and non-fungible tokens in the same contract. And that's what makes it interesting and exciting. So ERC 721 is a very simplistic contract. And here, I'll show you that. It looks very similar to an ERC 20, like there's balance of own and things like that. But it has a few things that are different, and I'm gonna go over them. But before I do that, I want you to create a mental model for how these tokens are. And to do that, I'm going to show you the only thing that matters about these contracts, right? So for this, I'm going to start off with the fungible token. What you have in your contract, folks, at the end of the day, is basically two columns. Who, and this is for the ERC20, and how many. That's it. Your ERC20 cryptocurrency fungible token contract basically is a two-column table that says address 0x, I don't know, whatever it is, 1, 2, 3, 4, has 1,000 tokens. 0x, whatever the address is, has 293 tokens. 0x. It's really, really, really this simple, folks. So we have all this complex stuff in MetaMask and all of that. At the end of the day, when you are working with a fungible token ERC20 contract, which we just created, what's in the contract is this: a table that has an address and how many tokens you have. And all you're doing when you're sending tokens, etc., is you're moving numbers around. Remember, when I created my contract, I was the creator, right? And I had what, 1 billion tokens. That's what it would have looked like. And then when I sent funds to all the people who put their addresses, what would happen is mine would decrease. So this would become like whatever, 980 or whatever. And the other ones would increase. So this is as basic of accounting ledger kind of math as you can get. Is there's accounts, and no tokens can be created and no tokens can be destroyed. And all that happens when you send tokens is one gets reduced and the other gets increased. And that, my friends, is ERC20 tokens. This is as complex as it gets. There is no more complexity to it. Oops, I just pasted some wrong thing there. All right. Now, I often hear people saying, oh, the tokens are in my wallet. What do I do? My wallet got hacked, this, that, etc. All complete and total lies. All right. Say this again. Repeat with me. Okay. Your crypto wallet contains no cryptocurrency. Ever. Okay. And why? Why is this? A crypto wallet is merely a storage for private keys. And it's a tool for signing transactions. That's it. A crypto wallet contains nothing. It has no tokens. It has no coins. It has no NFTs, nothing. They are always just resident on the blockchain. And if you want to prove that to yourself, use the same private key and use 5 different wallets: MetaMask, Trust, Rainbow, etc., and add that account to each one and make a change, like send tokens from that account to somewhere else. You will see that that change is accurately reflected in all of them, because a crypto wallet, think of it like this: it is a lens. It is like goggles that is looking in on the blockchain. there's nothing in your wallet. You can delete your wallet. If you've saved the private key, it does not matter. It does not matter at all. This is a really important point for people to understand. Crypto wallets are just storage for your private keys and a tool for signing transactions. They never contain anything. So if you delete your wallet, as long as you have the private key, it does not matter ever. All right? This is important. Okay, so now let's go to ERC 721. What does an ERC 721 have, right? So here we had a how many, right? And in an ERC 721 contract, which is almost exactly identical, conceptually to what we talked about, there is also a table. And let's see what that table is. But instead of, it's got the who column, but instead of the how many, it's got the which column. And the which column has a random number, usually sequential, 1, 2, 3, etc. That's it. It's got a token ID. That's all that an ERC 721 token has. It has one additional thing here, and I'll put that up here. It has a URL, which looks something like this. Let's just call it site.com/. And what you can do is you can put at the end of this one, 1 or 2 or 3 or whatever, and it will have the media associated with this, and it will have the metadata associated with it. So this URL will return it's a data basically. I don't want to use technical terms, but it has data which returns the image or video or whatever is associated with the token and the metadata associated with it. So I on OpenSea or wherever you go to my wallet. Actually, here, let's do this, right? Etherscan. Let's go to Kalyani.eth. In this particular account, I have thousands of NFTs. Let's resolve it to my address. Come on, there you go. Here's my address. Okay, so I have all these tokens that I'm buying constantly. Let's go into my ERC 721 token transactions. So here's a bunch of them, right? So folks, I spend a copious amount of money. I've spent almost $600,000 at this point to buy your random numbers. That's it. Like when I buy a token, I literally, all I get is a token ID. That is the only thing that exists on the blockchain. Everything else is off chain. It is on some other storage. And if that storage goes away, the asset goes away. The artwork I purchased, the metadata of it, etc. The only thing I really own is a number. That's it. Nothing else. And non-fungible tokens are really as simple as that. The standards currently do not exist to preserve the data, meaning the image of your artwork or anything in the contract. It's completely separate. The smart contract has nothing else. Don't let anyone convince you that NFTs have this provenance and they have, provable that you authored it, or they have protection or copyright or zero, zip, nada, nothing. All that the current ERC 721 standard has is a contract which has your address and the fact that you created this random number, and then the fact that you transferred that random number's ownership to me. That is it. And if you think I'm lying, go research for yourself. This is the exact standard right now, and you can see the data in any contract you go to. There is literally just a token ID. All right. So right now, everything that you've been told is false. NFTs are really just random numbers. So when I'm buying all of this, I'm buying lots of random numbers. The token IDs are basically a random identifier, ID. So here we go. This says I got this thing here, and Etherscan, etc., have this view NFT option. What they are doing is they are going and looking at the URL in that contract. I'll show you where that URL comes. There is a specific field. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Hold on, I'm going to show you. Should be here. Where am I? I'm missing it. What am I missing? What am I missing? I must have whizzed past it here. Balance of, owner of, contract. That URL is definitely there. Why am I blind? Why am I not seeing it? Mapping balance of. Am I looking at ERC7? Yeah, it is ERC721. I'm looking for the URL field. I'm not even seeing that. Where is it? We. Why am I not seeing the URL? Okay, maybe I need to go look at ERC721 contract code. Okay. This has a lot of other stuff in here. Here we go. Let's go to the specification directly. There we go. Metadata, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. So this is basically the metadata. Token URI. That's the function I was looking for. Token URI. That is basically the address of where the data is stored. So getting back to this here, in the fungible token, you have the address and how many tokens you have. In a non-fungible token contract, you have an address and which token you have. And there is one URL associated with this. So, in OpenSea and Foundation, etc., you might know this as a collection. One contract, it's called in their terms, it's a collection, but it's really a contract. And that contract has one URL where you can go and look up all of these. So maybe we can do this. We can go to OpenSea.io and let's see, what I do? Just go tech bubble. Does that work? I will. Okay. So here, let's pick this Moonbird and copy image address. See, it's image.seadn.io files, and there's basically the token identifier, and that's it. That's what it comes down to is the ownership of this asset is really just an ID on a smart contract. And in fact, we can go look here. So this says 2177, right? Is my token ID. So here's this contract, and you can see I can search for the token ID 2177, maybe 177. No, that's wrong. That's not what I want to do. Sorry. I want to search here for 2177, but how do I do that? I'm not familiar with doing this part, but here you can see the different token IDs, right? They're just a number that's there. There isn't actually any other data. So I don't know how to find 2177. Let's just look at one that's already there. But you can see that this particular token has an image associated with it, and it's for a different contract. Did I not go to that right contract? What contract am I on? Let me just make sure I'm on the right contract. Contract address is that. Oh, it's this contract owning other tokens. So that's not what I want. I want Moonbirds. That's the one I want. Okay. So there we go. So this one is 9415, and we can do this. We can put what was mine again? 2177, I think. What? Um, yeah, 2177. Boom. There you go. So we looked at the contract, and we looked at the token identifier, and it returned this, and it says I'm the owner of it, right? So, but other than that, this contract has nothing. And look, it also says it's off chain. It is not stored on chain at all. So there's that. All right. So let's go through looking at questions a little bit and see see what we have here. People wanting tokens, I'll send them to them. Um, what is the I prefix in all of this? I stands for interface. That just means that the contract has to adhere to certain standards, and that's called an interface. Subodh asks, as a creator of a fungible token, once transferred to a few, can we completely vanish, burn it off the blockchain if we wish to? Uh, so let's look at it in the context of this table, right? What does vanish, burn it off the blockchain even mean, right? So when you create this token, once you start distributing it to people, you lose the ability to manipulate the tokens owned by other people. The only things you have control over are the tokens that are still in your possession. Um, can you burn someone else's token? No, because then it would be centralized. It wouldn't be decentralized. Can you get rid of the contract? No. Uh, if you built in into your contract a feature or code that prevented people from doing things or caused all transactions to fail, etc., sure, you could write code like that, but no one is going to buy your token because they can see clearly in the code that you have the ability to destroy that contract and make that token completely worthless at any given time. So why would anyone spend money on that token? It would become a useless token. So basically, you know, blockchain contracts and data are forever. They're immutable. You cannot change them once deployed. And so, and actually, that's a good point. I wanted to also share with you. You know, you probably heard this again and again and again that blockchain data is immutable. Once you put it in there, you cannot change it. So how then uh, can you move tokens from between addresses? Isn't that changing the data? Well, it depends on how you look at it. The blockchain has something called state. So the initial state of the contract I created, the DEMT token, was I owned all billion tokens. That can never be changed, that state. But what can happen is that a new state can be put on the blockchain that says, basically, I moved a million tokens from my account and I added a million tokens to Theo's account. So this is how you look at it. You look at it as layers. In blockchain, all transactions are changing the state of the blockchain. And you can think of that like as an artist, you can think in terms of art layers, right? You can think of the new data as a new layer that does not mess with the old one. It just says, here's the new state, and here's the new state, and here's the new state. So you need to think about that. And that's why when they say that the blockchain is immutable, data is immutable, that's true, but the data can still be changed. It's just that the original data cannot be changed. You can put new data on top of it and say that, okay, this is the new data now, and ignore the old data. You know, so that's how it's no different than having a layered file in like Photoshop, and each new layer is opaque, so you can't see anything below it, or it's opaque only for certain areas where whatever was not changed continues to show through. So imagine having layers where you're only changing in each layer some part, so that the when you're looking at the whole image, you know, you're seeing the state, the current state of all the layers, right? Blockchain is just like that. Each transaction puts on a new layer and it says, okay, this particular part is changed. So that's how you can think about blockchain data. Looking for more questions. Uh, Is there any possibility that media files will also be on chain without costing too much money in the future? Yeah, there's actually a few chains that are already doing that. So Scale is one of them. Um, so Scale already has data storage uh, on chain. It's kind of cool. And I actually wanted to mess around with it and do some NFT experiments on Scale, which I'll do. I'll be breaking out the code here in one of these. I think I'm going to call these sessions Nick at Night, just like the TV show, just for fun. Um, yeah, so Scale has that, but not many other chains have that right now because data storage can grow very large, and it's really complicated to create blockchain nodes that have that much storage capability. So what can I do with these tokens? The ones I sent you, absolutely nothing. You can, they're worthless. So if you want to do something and make it worthwhile, like worth something, that's entirely up to you. But they are completely worthless. Um, then let's see here. What's the difference between off-chain and on-chain? All right. So off-chain means that in the context of NFTs, I'm presuming you're asking, off-chain means that the data or some whatever information is stored in a Web 2.0 land in a database or Google Drive or something like that. On-chain means the data is stored in the contract. And in the case of ERC 721, the only data that is stored on chain is the token ID and one link, one URL that points to where all the assets for each of these tokens is stored. So that's it. There's nothing else stored on chain. Now you can write a custom 721 contract where you store certain metadata on chain if you want to, but that's about the extent of it. Most NFT contracts just have the token ID and the URL of where the assets are stored and nothing else on chain. Yeah, everything is stored off chain, making the entire NFT ecosystem right now is just so brittle. It is just completely brittle because, like, of all these tokens I own, um, if the corresponding off chain websites go offline, someone doesn't pay the bill for the hosting or whatever, poof, those images are gone. People say, oh, IPFS is decentralized storage. But here's the thing that they don't say. On IPFS, there is storage. You can put anything. It is decentralized storage. But there is something called a garbage collector, which every 24 hours, or you can change that if you want, goes and deletes everything that is not pinned. Pinning is something you have to pay for. So if you haven't paid to pin things, they are garbage collected and deleted every 24 hours. So uh, if you have your asset is stored on IPFS and it gets unpinned, poof, it'll be gone. Now, here's the shame of this. Today, even though we are so far advanced into decentralization, companies like OpenSea, who have billions, of transactions, well, millions of transactions, and so much money, they are still relying on Google. So let me go to a static one. That's a video. That one. If you look at the image address, you'll have to look around a little bit because they are transitioning. No, got lucky the first time. GoogleUserContent.com. Look at that. OpenSea storing its images on centralized storage provided by Google. Is that not horrible? But that's it, right? So whoever is paying for this, if this service goes away, if they stop paying, this image here and this particular NFT I have will be completely worthless. I will own a token. So I will own token ID 5 on the blockchain. And that token ID, as I was saying, has data associated with it. So see, this is what the data looks like. It's got a name, It's got an image, and here's the image URL. You know, but that's it. So OpenSea is caching the images on Google, and it is stored on IPFS. And you sure as hell hope that it's pinned because it could go away anytime. So that's that. All right. Can I can I send can I send some of those tokens with others with right contract, right? Yep, of course, you can send it to anyone you want. This is why I took great pains to explain that ERC20 contract is just addresses and tokens. It token doesn't care anything about which address you're sending to, how many you're sending to. As long as you have that many tokens in your wallet, you can send those away to someone else. So at this point, Teo has slightly over 1 million. So you have that many tokens. You can send them to as many people as you want, but you got to pay the gas for all those transactions. So as long as you're willing to pay the gas, you're good to go. All right. Anything else happening here? Any questions? For fungible tokens, what happens if I send tokens from the exchange to the wallet but selected the wrong network? All right, this is an interesting question. It gives me an opportunity to tell you the difference between centralized and decentralized exchanges. Okay, centralized exchanges like Gemini, Binance, Coinbase, etc., they exist for one purpose, well, two purposes. They exist for two purposes. One, to enable you to on-ramp and off-ramp into cryptocurrency. What does that mean? To get from fiat, US dollars, UK pounds, Indian rupees, whatever, to Ethereum, Bitcoin, USDC, etc. And then conversely, from Bitcoin, Ethereum, USDC, etc., to your bank account, right? So bank account to crypto and crypto to bank account. That's what the purpose of a centralized exchange is. Now, it has another purpose. It allows you to trade. So there'll be lots of people trading, cryptocurrencies and all of that kind of stuff. Let's focus on the first part, though. There is a phrase. The phrase is called not your private key, not your crypto. Just like when you put your money in the bank, you trust that the bank is going to hold the money on your behalf. And when you go with your ATM card and try and withdraw it, that they will give it to you. But the bank would say, no, we decided today we are not going to give you any money. You could go inside the bank and ask for your money, and they could say, nope, we've decided we don't want to give you any money. What's stopping them from doing that? Basically, just government regulations, right? The laws. Other than that, there is nothing to prevent a bank from, when you go there, say, sorry, you cannot get your money. In fact, they do it, right? You make a deposit, they're not going to instantly give you the money. They're going to wait for a day or so, make some interest, and they're thugs, bank people. They're going to milk you for every bit and maybe say your funds will only be available, day after tomorrow or something like that. So the important thing here to understand is that when you deposit your crypto into a centralized exchange, you are trusting them. You no longer have control of those funds other than the user interface they provide. So never, ever keep all your crypto funds in a centralized exchange. That is the dumbest possible thing you could ever do. Do not do that. Keep the funds in your control in a decentralized wallet, ideally a cold wallet, like, get yourself one of the hardware wallets and keep funds there. Do not use centralized exchanges as your storage for crypto, because they could deny you access to those funds anytime. They could go bankrupt anytime. You would lose all your crypto, right? Not your private key, not your crypto. You do not have the private key to the centralized exchange account. You don't have it. Trust me on this one. You don't have it. You can go research it. Therefore, it is not your crypto. It is a promise of your crypto. It's an IOU of your crypto, but it is not your crypto. So do not do the stupidest thing people do in crypto, which is keep all their money in a centralized exchange. Keep only the money that you're using to trade, and keep only maybe a pittance, all tiny amount just to keep your account active. But otherwise, don't do that. So now, having understood that, you know that if you send tokens from an exchange to a wallet, or you selected the wrong network, what happens? Well, your money's gone. End of story. In crypto, it's pretty unforgiving. When you make a mistake, you know, and you send stuff to a different network or something like that, it's gone. So that's just how things work. Uh, yeah, let's see if there are any other questions here. So you have revealed the biggest deception of current Web 2. I don't know what that was referring to, but for fungible tokens, what? Okay, I already answered that one. All right. Okay, here we go. Here's a question. Can I use Uniswap for swapping ETH and into USD, then sending to my bank? No. Uniswap is a decentralized exchange. It exists as a smart contract. It's merely a program. And in that program, anyone, you, me, etc., agree to be a liquidity provider. What's a liquidity provider? You say that here are two cryptocurrencies. They have to be different. One ETH and one, let's say, our DEMT token that we just made up. Okay. You say, I am going to provide liquidity for that. And what Uniswap says is great. Provide us an equal amount of ETH and the equivalent value of whatever price you think that DEMT is going to be. Load that up. So if you think that the DEMT token price that you want to sell at should be 10 cents, and you want to put in, 1 ETH worth of it, right? So then you do the math and figure out, okay, sorry, let's not say 10 cents. Let's say 0.01 ETH, right? So if you say that each DEMT is 0.01 ETH, then, and you want to put in 1 ETH, what is that? It's 1 divided by 0.01, which is what? 100, right? So it's 100. So you need to put 100 DEMT tokens and 1 ETH. You need to put that into Uniswap. And now what Uniswap does is the next time someone comes along and says, hey, I want to swap from ETH to DEMT, they use your liquidity in order to provide them access to that token. And the cool thing about Uniswap is that each transaction, each sale causes the price of that to go up, and each sale causes the price to go down. So that's how Uniswap, etc., prices work. But you cannot have fiat currency in a decentralized exchange. Why? Because fiat currency requires the exchange to comply with laws, regulations, rules, etc., that a smart contract has no capability of doing. Therefore, decentralized exchange will never ever have fiat currency. It is impossible. It will only have cryptocurrency. A centralized exchange is the only place where you will find fiat currency, right? So that was that answer. Uniswap, PancakeSwap, SushiSwap, all of those are DEXs, DEX, decentralized exchanges. So you would never find fiat there. Let's see. Any other questions? Does it decrease the amount of tokens issued by the contract? I'm not sure where this comes from. I think it's a continuation. Let's see. I think that's it. That's it. I've answered all the questions I could. I just wanted to give everyone a lay of the land about fungible and non-fungible tokens, and how at the most basic, most simplistic level, you're dealing with two columns in each one. One column is the address of who owns it and how many in fungible. And in the case of non-fungible tokens, it's the address and which token ID. That's basically what we're talking about. All right. And I think that's it then. So this was yet another episode of, like I said, I'm thinking I'll call it Nick at Night or something like that, and document it here. So hopefully you like this. You like what I'm talking about here and what I'm doing here. and you find it useful. If so, tell your friends and come join these sessions when I do them again. So that's it. Signing off. Dream on, dream big.